Hi, welcome to episode 15 of the StressKnits podcast. Today is May 9th, 2016, and I am no longer at school because I graduated on Saturday. So, yeah, I got back last night, and yeah, I just decided to put this podcast out. I have a little knitting to show and some stash enhancement, so I thought I would just show you guys now so that I could keep you updated. And I like talking to you guys. It helps me feel normal. So yeah, I'm doing laundry and starting to put stuff away while I wait for my parents to come back, because Doug and I headed back a day early so that he could work and I could work on job applications. So here we are in Michigan. This is my parents' house. This is where I will be living until I get married. So that's really exciting. What I'm sitting up against, well, I'm on the couch, but this blanket is an Afghan my grandma Elstone crocheted, so that's really exciting. There are some fibery people that were in my family, that are in my family, so that's really exciting. And I just kind of wanted to show it off because it's absolutely beautiful, and I love sleeping under it when I take naps on the couch. So, yeah, I graduated on Saturday, so I feel weird. I feel like I don't have anything to do, but that's why I decided to podcast. So without further ado, I would like to say thank you to new and returning viewers. It means so much that you stuck with me and that you're checking me out for the first time. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I wanted to say thank you to Lorelai of the Knit and Beads, I think it's Knit and Beads, pretty sure, podcast. I will put a link in the show notes, which can be found on our Ravelry group, which is StressKnits podcast. And yeah, you could find show notes there. There are links in the down bar. I am completely scatterbrained because I didn't create any show notes. So I'm Stacy, also known as StressKnits on Ravelry, and Stacy also on Instagram, and all of that information is in the down bar. And yeah, I don't know, my hair is something right now. I don't know. I tried to put it up, but it looked really weird, so I just put it half up. Okay, anyway, so yes, Lorelai of the Knit and Beads podcast, which I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Her and I have been corresponding for a while, at least the last month and a half. She is the one who contacted me about the Frida skein because I was obsessed over it, and she again took up the call. Well, that wasn't really a call, that was just me saying it, and out of the goodness of her heart she offered a skein of yarn. But last podcast I mentioned that I had a skein of wool and fine yarn that I loved, but it was on a base that I didn't really feel comfortable knitting into socks, and I'm not really a shawl knitter. I like to knit one shawl every now and then, so she's a shawl knitter. She has amazing shawls. You guys check out her podcast, she's amazing. And she's one of the nicest people ever. So we did a wool and fine yarn swap, and she swapped me this skein of Neptunia, which I love, on the Volca base, which is Kristen's MCN. So wool and fine yarns. Sorry for the glare, there's a pretty big window to my left. But yes, wool and fine yarns and the Volca base, Neptunia. This is a base that I love and I haven't knit with in forever, and I'm so excited to knit with it. And I had this colorway on a base that Kristen discontinued. It was her squish base, which was 100% superwash merino. And I tried to knit a pair of socks with it, and I knit a pair of socks with it, but they were so tight because I still wasn't sure of gauge and all of that jazz. So to have another go with this gorgeous color, thank you so much, Lorelai. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited. It came today. Your package will be on its way today because out of the craziness of last week's festivities, there's the washer. Okay. Out of the craziness of last week's festivities, I could not get to the post office. Everything was just too crazy. By the time I had time, the post office was closed. So I'm going today after our podcast to get your skein of yarn and a surprise for you in the mail. So thank you so much again. I love it. Okay, so there is that. And thank you to the person who gifted me the exploration station. Thank you so much. I wanted to knit that pattern for a while, and I'm going to be knitting it this summer. I didn't know if you wanted me to say your name on the podcast, so you know who you are, and just thank you so much for that really sweet gift. Thank you. And everybody that has congratulated me on graduating, you guys, I'm just so overwhelmed by the love in this little section of the knitting community. I really appreciate everything. I appreciate every one of you, and I can't wait to get more involved with this community because, as you know, I'm out of school, I'm looking for a job, so I feel like I'm going to have more time because on weekends I won't have to, well, I'll always have some days off, whereas when I was in school I didn't have that. So I'm just really excited to hit the ground running and just go. So with that, I'm going to get into some of the knitting. I have knit on 3 things this week. I've cast on 1 new thing, so I'll show that last. And I've crossed something off my bucket list of knitting for the year, so that's really exciting. Okay, first of all, I will show you my May socks, which is every month I knit a pair of socks with a different indie dyer to feature their yarn, and the last few months have been amazing. I've had this skein of yarn in my stash for a long time, and for a long time I mean like a month and a half, 2 months. This is Sylvia by Junk Yarn on her smooth sock base, and I'm obsessed with it. I've loved it since I got it. I'm sorry if the lighting's a little weird. Try to, whoop. Did that fix anything? I don't know. But okay, so yes, this is Sylvia, Kemper's yarn, Junk Yarn. If you can get some of it, it's gorgeous. So yesterday on the drive-in, Doug drove, because he's wonderful and I cannot drive his car because it's a stick. So he drove and I knit the leg of the sock. So I will be turning the heel hopefully today, and I'm in love with it. Even though the lighting's a little weird, it's doing it justice. It's absolutely stunning. So this is just my basic sock. I think I did 25 or 30 rounds of cuff on this sock, and then I knit for the entire leg from cuff to heel flap start is 7 inches. I like a pretty decent size cuff, and for me that is 7 inches lately is the shortest I like to knit my socks. So there is that. I will be starting the heel flap, and I just love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, it's so pretty. So there are my May socks. Sock number 1 out of Kemper, out of her yarn, because it's absolutely stunning. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so there is whip number 1 that I've been working on. I have several whips, but, you know, whew. Iced coffee. Also, my allergies are kicking. Is anybody else's, shaking the table. Is anybody else's allergies kicking? Because mine are on full blast. So if any sniffles happen, allergies. Okay, so the next work in progress I've been knitting on are my Cookie A socks for the Cookie Jar Cow, hosted by Candace of Pin Feathers and Pearls and Laura of the Fawn Knits. And I'm knitting the Zeroscape Socks, which look like this. Last time I showed it to you, I was right about to start the heel, And I did it, and I turned it, and I'm working on the gusset. So, yes, this is knit out of Druzy Rising, her twist sock, I believe. I don't know. I was trying to look at another skein that I have sitting next to me right now, but I cannot. I don't have the part that says what it is, but I think it's her twist sock. It's just gorgeous. So there's what the pattern looks like. It's this beautiful broken rib thing. This pattern is 100% worth it. It's a gorgeous pattern. It's very... I love knitting this sock. And yeah. So I love everything about it. And this is Druzy Rising in the Pathway colorway. So it's this beautiful green with, it looks like flowers on a pathway. And it's perfect. There's the heel turn. I'm working down the gusset right now. Here's the yarn. That blows that out, doesn't it? Okay. Sorry that I will find a better place in my house to podcast, or maybe at Doug's. I don't know yet. I will try to find somewhere better that doesn't blow that out. But it's absolutely beautiful. If you can get your hands on Druzy Rising, do it. Both of those socks are, actually all of my socks are knit on US 1.5s, 2.5 millimeter needles. These are my carbons, and the other two socks are my Chiaogus. So, like I said, I'm knitting another pair of socks because that's all I want to knit on. And the grocery girls, who I adore, I love them so, so much, are doing a fancy feet cal, which is knitting a pair of socks using a technique that you've never used before. And in my first episode, I gave you a list of things that I want to accomplish this year in my knitting. And one of those things is cables, because I have been terrified of cables. I thought that they were the most daunting thing in the entire world. So, for their fancy feet cal, I'm also using another Cookie A pattern, but I'm only doing a panel down the front, and I changed the stitch count. But these are the BFF socks. The Naughty Gnome commented in my last episode thread, and she told me about these socks, and they're perfect. The cable pattern is nice and simple, but I'm cabling, you guys. I did it, and it's addicting. It's so much fun. I want to cable everything now. I want to make a big chunky cabled hat. I want to make a cabled sweater. It's so much fun. So, like I said, I'm only doing a panel on the front. I'm just doing stockinette on the back. Because, yeah. I didn't understand the pattern this is also my first time reading from charts, so I didn't understand some of it. So what I did is I just did my normal 64 cuff and fudged the setup row to make it a count that made sense for me. It's a paid for pattern, so I don't want to give it away too much, but I felt like the stitch count that they had for me was going to be huge. And I mean, this looks really tiny, but I don't have big legs, so it stretches out a lot, and once I block them, it's going to be fine. I tried it on over my leg, and it fits really well, so I'm not too worried. But this is out of Hedgehog Fibers in the Tickle colorway. I was inspired by Laura the Fawn Knits, who's knitting her Cookie A monkey socks out of. So this is what it looks like. It's beautiful. I think it was a club colorway, but I got it on a D-stash. This is my cable needle. I got it out of a tin that my Aunt Lisa gave to my mom when she found out my mom was learning how to knit. So, yeah. So that's the cable needle. There's the yarn. Again, Hedgehog Fiber sock is one of my favorite sock yarns. I love everything about them. Yeah, so this is super pretty. I'm in love with cables. I'm never going to be afraid of those or charts again. And thank you so much, Naughty Gnome. You saved my life with this pattern. Not really saved my life, but you know what I mean. You gave me the best recommendation that I could have ever asked for. So thank you so much. I love it. Okay. So, there is that. I feel very out of breath because I have to breathe out of my mouth and I'm talking at the same time. So it's a little difficult. I'm gonna drink some coffee for a second. So, moving on to enabling, because that is all I've knit on this week. Finals and having family come down. My mom's birthday was on the 5th, and then so we celebrated that, celebrating my graduation, which was amazing, and then celebrating Mother's Day and traveling. I didn't have a lot of knitting time. So, there's that. But like I said, I got the Wool and Vine yarn from Lorelei. I cannot wait. I'm going to put a cozy memory square while I'm uploading this podcast and watching some of my favorites. I actually started Candace's Pin, Feathers, and Pearls podcast, the newest one, because I love Candace. Her and I feel like we're friends, and it's just really fun to catch up with her. So I put her on, and then I realized I felt like podcasting, so I'm going to start watching hers right after this. So I'm going to put a square of the 3 stash enhancements that I have, including this one. So I'm really excited about that. So again, thank you, Lorelei. I'll do that one last. So, like I said, last week I bought myself a skein of yarn to celebrate graduation, because that's a really big milestone in my life. And I wanted to get something special. I wanted to get something that looked like me and felt like me. And so when Druzy Rising announced that she was doing an update, I jumped on to see if I could catch it, and I got there right at 4, and I saw this colorway and pressed buy immediately, and I was incredibly lucky to snag that skein because it was gone in, her entire update was gone in less than like 30 seconds. So I was incredibly lucky. But this is it. It is the most beautiful yarn. I got it when I came home yesterday, and it was amazing. So, Druzy Rising, Willow Sweater, I cannot tell you how in love with this yarn I am. I cannot say enough about Druzy Rising. Just try to get some, and if you can't, keep trying. It's so worth it. So worth it. I've gotten cart jacked on a few updates, but I kept coming back, and I've snagged 2 skeins since. So, just gotta persistence, and hopefully eventually you'll get some, but yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. The lighting is not doing this justice. It looks beautiful on camera, but it's so beautiful in real life, you guys. Yeah, so there's that. And then, last but certainly not least, last episode I was talking about how much I love With Pointed Sticks. Her yarn is amazing, and I've loved it since I found the shop. And Susan, who is the dyer behind With Pointed Sticks, messaged me on Instagram and asked me if she could send me a graduation present. And not only that, but she wanted to send you guys something too. So, for me, she sent the skein that I have been in love with since I found her shop, and that is Tulip Fields. I think that's what it's called. Yes, Tulip Fields. So it's this gorgeous minty sky blue color with just all of these saturated speckles, and it's gorgeous. So it's upside down. Here's her tag. with pointed sticks. What does it say? Color to write home about, and it is. Susan's yarn is just, it's amazing. Should definitely go check out her shop. This is on her ballpoint sock, which is an 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. And if you've watched the podcast before, you know how in love with 80/20s I am. So there's that, 400 yards and 100 grams. Yeah, it's just, it's beautiful. So this is the one that she sent for me, and I cannot wait to see what this looks like knitted up. This actually might be the first square I put in my Cozy Memories blanket today, because I feel like knitting on that today, so I think I'm just going to let myself indulge and do that. But for you guys, she sent this skein, and it is just stunning. Oh, it's so pretty. It is her mixed berries colorway on her glitter gel pen fingering, which I love that everything, all of her bases are writing utensils. It makes me so happy. Okay, so there, that's a beautiful shot of it. So this is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina, and it's gold stellina. So mixed berries, there it is, with pointed sticks. So I will be opening a thread in the Ravelry group. Link is in the down bar to the Ravelry group. It will be a stickied thread, and all you have to do is answer the prompt. And I didn't even think of a prompt yet. Okay, because I want you guys to look at Susan's yarn so badly. What I want you to do is go to her Etsy shop, and I will link it in that thread. And I want you to tell me what is your favorite colorway that she dyes. Okay, simple enough. And 1 post per person. You must be a member of the group to enter, and I will be drawing for this in a week or 2. I haven't decided yet. I will put the date in the thread because I need to get out prizes from my indie dyed cow. So I'll be doing that soon too. I promise. Oh, I promise. Okay. I'm the worst at the post office. Well, when I was at school, I was at the words. When I was at school, I was really bad about the post office because I didn't have access to a car. But now that I have access to a car, I will be getting better. Okay, so here it is, mixed berries. This could be yours. Just enter away. Susan, thank you again for such a generous gift. Thank you. And that's all I have. Again, thank you everybody for all of your support and love, and it just means so much to me. So I hope you guys get to knit something really fun this week. And I cannot wait to talk to you next week, hopefully with more knitting. Okay, so have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you later.